Hello everyone, this is AB Creative. I hope you're all good. Now I can't believe it, but it's been 1 year since I posted my first YouTube video. It's been an uphill climb, but you guys made it worth it. Thank you so much. Now enjoy the video. Let's go! Wow, I genuinely can't believe it's been 1 year. There have been so many great moments, lessons learned and fun times. Thank you all for being part of this wonderful community. So to celebrate this milestone, I wanted to bring you a video of epic scale, pushing myself and acrylic pouring to new limits. We're going to be using so many exciting techniques, including straw blow, acrylic skins, chain pours, swipes, resin, 3D mold making, and probably a couple more. As my first ever YouTube video was of a jellyfish, it's a pretty special subject for me. So I'm going to make another one this time. However, it's going to be a 3D jellyfish and we will wrap it in a skin. So let's do it. Today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. Now before we start, here are the colors we're going to need. Ultramarine blue, phthalo green, titanium white, pearl white, amaranth red, and papaya orange. Okay, so this is the silicone mat. First I'm going to make the right shape. I'll start with titanium white, just outlining my jelly. It's going to be pretty big. Something like that. I have to bear in mind that once I wrap it around the 3D thing, this is going to be smaller. My pearl white. This is the brightest orange I have. Just in the middle of the jelly, bit of metallic orange, and this is my amaranth red. I'll just put a bit of white here, tiny bit of green, and maybe a bit of blue. Okay, so I'm going to use my straw now. Okay, so let's turn it so it's more comfortable for me. Kind of imagining that when I blow, the white will go over the colors, but we'll see. Well, so far it's good. Well, that's not bad. Okay, I wonder if we need more white on top. I'm trying to really blow over. Maybe let's add a bit more white here, like these two parts. Trying to blow level with the paint. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with it. So let's just leave it to dry and see how I can form it around my 3D body. Once the jellyfish skin is getting dry, I am thinking how to make the 3D shape. And of course you can use various things. You can use polymer clay. I could use air drying clay, but that would be pretty heavy on the canvas. Plaster of Paris perhaps. But I'm always looking for some cheap, easy solutions. So I will start with making a shape out of the kitchen foil. And again, I am going to take the canvas here to check the size. Slightly bigger. Okay, that's my shape, and I think I am pretty happy with the height. Look at this. I'm going to show you some birds I made and some other creatures using aluminium foil. So these were done just with aluminium foil and masking tape, no paste, anything else on top. So this is aluminium foil wrapped in just masking tape, regular masking tape. Look at the birdie. It's so much fun making these little 3D creatures. And a funny cat. I think I'll use this one. All-purpose filler. This is the same filler I used for my apple, for the video with the apple tree. Oh, this is so soft. Okay, so it became softer than usual. Good for me, because I can really shape it now. Yeah, let's just have fun. I don't really know what's inside, to be honest. It says all-purpose filler, ready to use, suitable for interior, exterior use, ideal for repairs to plaster, plasterboard, brick. Okay, so that's exactly what we need. Some kind of a awesome paste. Look at this. And it's so cheap. It was so cheap. Just from the DIY store. So you can see me sort of coating it, like imagine you are icing a cake, making a nice shape. Yes, I'll definitely come back to it once I coat it with one layer. And then I'm going to make it look perfect. Well, hopefully. I think it's going to dry much quicker if I don't put such a thick first layer. So let's just leave it alone now. And I'll come back to it tomorrow. Well, I came 1 hour later and it's completely, it's still very soft. But what I've been doing now, it's not sticky anymore. So I can make some marks here. And I've been sort of shaping it so it looks more like those jellyfish segments. So this is my jellyfish the following day. Can you hear it? It's completely dry. And I actually thought I probably don't need another layer. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to use sandpaper and just gently sand some of the bits that are a bit rough. I am going to do it outside. I don't want to mess my workstations because I'm going to attach this 3D piece to my canvas. I am going to support the canvas underneath and I'll show you what I'm going to use. So this is what I found. It's like really very, very light yet sturdy and thick board. So that's going behind at the back of my canvas. Now, before we start pouring the paints, I would like to thank the sponsor of this video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes on a variety of creative topics, such as photography, painting, writing, and many more. It's a place to explore new skills, deepen your passions, and get lost in creativity. Since I had this big YouTube milestone approaching, I decided to take the class YouTube Success, Script, Shoot and Edit by Marcus Brownlee. Marcus is an incredibly successful YouTuber and has distilled his years of experience into a series of lessons that have helped me grow my channel and streamline my process to shoot and release better videos. This is the perfect class for anyone who's thinking about starting a new channel or want to revitalize an existing one. The first 1,000 people who use my link in the description to try out Skillshare get a free trial of Skillshare Premium. After that, it's less than $10 a month if you choose an annual subscription. Thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. I only have 2 colors that I'm going to use for the background. So this is teal. This is ultramarine mixed with phthalo blue. I am going, however, to add some white to the blue. I'll just separate it a little bit because I want a section that's going to be lighter. This is my consistency. Hope you can see that. It's running off the stick. A bit of teal, but I'm going to mix this part with white. Just put it on the canvas, add white to it, and I'll mix it here. For those of you who are wondering what is she using, these are some old jars from my yogurts and very, very old sticks. I just reuse everything. And again, I wanted the borders to blend. I don't want just one light and then dark section. I want the colors to blend really nicely. And this time the lighter blue is going to blend a bit with the green, as you can imagine. Time for the darkest bit. And again, we'll just blend it in first. Okay, I think I have to be a bit faster because I don't want the paint to dry before I start adding tentacles. So I'm just still considering adding a tiny bit of white, just dipping my palette knife in it and just torch it. Okay, maybe one little at the bottom, really don't want to spoil it. Just a hint of a wave, that's it. I'll probably leave it. It's time for the change now because I can see that the background is getting too dry now. I'm going to turn the painting because I'm going to drag it from the blues up, but let me torch it first. Okay, white paint, dipping the chain in white. I've got a container with water, so I can drop my chain in here. Okay, next one. There'll be a couple of the bigger ones and then a few smaller. So I think they will be covered up to here with these won't be seen because I think my jelly will be up to here. So what I'll do now, I'm going to turn it around again and I'm going to add some wispy lines and those very, very thin and long tentacles. Looks a bit messy. So now time for long and wispy ones. Down like this. Just like that. So at the moment, I think that's enough for this section. Okay, so see you tomorrow. This is my poured jelly. Let's just try and peel it off. So this is just a completely my crazy idea. It may not work at all, but let's just test it. Because if it does, that's quite a nice pour. I could still use it on another painting if it doesn't work on my 3D shape. Now the question is, how do I kind of shrink wrap it? It's still stretchable. I think if I glue this piece, I just painted it quickly, but it's not very good. I think the skin is much more interesting. So if I paint this with PVA glue and then I'll just try to stretch that and trim the edges, well, hopefully that will work. I'm going to use the same PVA glue that I used for pouring. This is way too big, so I'm just choosing which sections I want to be seen. I do want some contrast, so I think I'll keep the bottom part. Now my skin. Oh yes, it stretches beautifully. I watered down the glue. I think we've covered all the crevices here. Okay, pretty excited. This is the first time I'm doing something like this. I can really stretch it so there are no creases at all. Just trying to fill the grooves here. Okay, I'm going to trim the edges in a minute. This will be one cool jelly. I am going to finish and see you in a minute. That's the jellyfish almost ready, nicely covered. Now if you have any air bubbles, you can use a pin, a needle, and just pop them and press the skin down. That works really, really well. So this is all dry. The jelly is ready. I'm just going to position it where it should be, and it's still not the end. I've got something else planned. So I think it's like this. Now I am going to just very gently mark with a pencil where the jelly goes, because I'm going to use my glue gun and I'm going to make some 3D tentacles as well. And let's start. I'll peel this end off in a minute. Now I'm going to smooth this part out because I don't want any sort of lumpy part underneath my jelly. Okay, another one. Nice and long one. Trying to get the first blob out of the way. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use a bit of my pearl white paint, and I'm going to rub onto some of the tentacles that I've just created. It's a similar technique I used when I was making my lightning and storm video. I use my finger because I can really feel where the paint is going. I definitely don't want it on the painting, I just want it on the relief part. I could have used titanium white, but I think these parts will look better when they are slightly translucent. This is very therapeutic. Time for resin now. So this is my resin, Mastercast by Jellychem. I'm using it 1:1, 1 part of resin to 1 part of hardener. I am going to use probably 200 ml just at the beginning. And if it's not enough, I'm going to do a second coat. So 100 milliliters of resin first. Or maybe I'll use 150, so 300. Now always wear gloves when you're using resin. Also, I recommend using a respirator. My resin is totally safe, but I don't know what you're going to use, so please do use a respirator. Okay, so I'm going to mix it now really, really well for, I would say, 3-4 minutes. You make sure you scrape all the edges. 2 ingredients are perfectly well combined. Now my resin is nicely mixed, but I'm tempted now to actually add a bit of shimmer and color to the resin. Well, just because I can, just for fun. Let's just split this resin into 2 cups and add a bit of, I think they're mica powders. 1 part light green and 1 part ocean blue. I've got a tiny bit clear resin left just in case. I actually concluded that the resin will be the best way to attach this creature to its tentacles, because if I pour resin here, I can just drop it down and it's going to set really nicely. So let's just start with a really small amount like that, and that might be all I need, because it will really shine nicely, especially when the sun comes and you can see it in full glory. And a bit of blue. Oh, I love this color. Look at this lovely blue. I'm ready to pour resin. If you look at it from close, it looks almost as if there's no color. But if you look inside, such nice blue. I don't know, I should start with green, shouldn't I? On top. I might put a bit of this clear resin here. Well, so basically I covered just those tentacles with clear resin. Okay, time for the colors. Still have a bit of green and blue. I'm going to take my spatula and I'm going to spread the resin a bit so that it touches the edges. I'm also going to use my heat gun just to move the mica powders a bit. Well, time for this super important part. We are placing the jelly. And now I can just drip some of the resin on top of it. Probably use my finger just to spread it. Now I'm really curious what you think of the process, and I hope you enjoyed it. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to cover it up so that no dust gets into my lovely underwater creature. And now let's take a look at the finished piece. I would love to hear your thoughts, so please be awesome if you could leave me a comment. I'm so happy with how it turned out. The resin is so sparkly and honestly it looks like water. Big thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Be sure to click the link in the description to get a free trial of Skillshare Premium. Thank you all so much for this wonderful year. You are all amazing and I could not be more happy with our community. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and why not consider subscribing if you haven't done it already. I would also like to give a shout out to the lovely people at Reddit who enjoyed my first jellyfish video right when my channel started. Thank you all for an amazing year, and here's to the next one. Bye bye! Well, I make my own pouring medium, which is half water, half PVA glue. Another name for PVA glue would be Elmer's glue or wood glue. Then I mix my pouring medium with paint, 2/3 of medium, 1/3 paint. In the end, I add a dash of Floetrol, which constitutes 10 to 20% of the total volume. Now this is the right consistency for most of the pouring techniques that I do. When the stream goes down, as a tiny build-up disappears quickly. I call it the runny honey consistency.